dancing fearless.
Rudolf Steiner and Jordan Peterson may have a solution to the free speech controversy. They both support free speech, but they also both share a higher value that guides free speech, and that is true speech. True speech is when an individual expresses what they believe to be true.
The thing about free speech is that, like, I'm not a free speech advocate, let's say. I'm a true speech advocate, which is to say that I believe that people should say what they believe to be true.
A new report from the Foundation for Individual Rights in Education finds that 9 out of 10 colleges are restricting free speech. Universities are restricting alternative points of view on campus to make students feel comfortable. Certain debates and speakers are being shut down to protect students from controversial ideas. Why aren't students learning how to deal with their emotional reactions to unpopular ideas, rather than running away from them? Instead, students are being taught to place a higher value on protecting feelings than protecting free speech. 40% of Americans under age 35 tell pollsters they think the First Amendment is dangerous because you might use your freedom to say something that hurts somebody else's feelings. Berkeley students used to demonstrate for free speech. Today, the students demonstrate and riot to shut down the free speech of speakers whose ideas they consider to be offensive. Some teachers are becoming frustrated with students. An academic colleague of mine summed it up. She was exasperated at always being told by her students what they feel. She wants to know what they think. Across academia, logic and reasoning are being crowded out by the emotions and feelings of students. Many teachers find that when they attempt to open up a conversation, it only creates more emotional storms, rather than calm debate and authentic attempts to understand each other. An individualist is not satisfied with the truth crammed into their heads by others or the groupthink of conformists. Rudolf Steiner speaks about the difference between our own inner truth and outer truth. In our age, truth will be sought in the depths of human nature. Truth that comes to us from outside always bears the stamp of uncertainty. We are only convinced by what appears to each of us inwardly as truth. It is the nature of an individual to want to make truth his own, by fully experiencing it deep within his being. True speech is spoken with conviction because it is a truth we understand. What is not clearly understood goes against our individuality that wants to experience everything in the depths of its inner core. The only knowing that satisfies us is the kind that does not submit to any external norm, but springs from the inner life of the personality. We are able to express our inner truth with conviction and understanding. This is empowering. But it still takes courage to speak your truth. It takes courage because you have to accept the consequences of speaking your mind. You may be attacked and need to defend your position. Or worse, what you say may be completely wrong.
Don't underestimate the power of truth. There's nothing more powerful. Now, in order to speak what you might regard as the truth, you have to let go of the outcome. You have to think, all right, I'm going to say what I think, stupid as I am, biased as I am, ignorant as I am. I'm going to state what I think as clearly as I can, and I'm going to live with the consequences no matter what they are. Now, the reason you think that, that's an element of faith. The idea is that nothing brings a better world into being than the stated truth.
The best way to bring about a better world is speaking the truth as you know it. But true speech is something that needs to be developed. And this is why Jordan Peterson supports free speech. We need the freedom to make mistakes.
but I don't believe that true speech is possible without free speech, because you're just not very good at thinking, and so you have to stumble around when you're first formulating ideas and wander into territory that's not necessarily productive and manifest your biases, and in short, you have to be a fool. A lot of what's necessary with regards to thinking is the freedom to make mistakes, because what, are you going to do it right the first time? I don't think so.
Jordan Peterson sees free speech as being necessary for the development of true speech. Discussion and debate improves our focus and sharpens our ideas. The only way to understand each other is when each person is free to express their truth. If it is actual hate speech, let them speak and look foolish trying to justify their ideas. But it is more likely they are expressing a truth that others refuse to face. Today, accusations of hate speech are being used to silence the facts of science, fuel a cultural war, and smear political opponents. Rudolf Steiner has another reason for supporting free speech. He sees the free expression of all points of view as the way for a greater truth to emerge. The only way to avoid one-sidedness and escape the political bubble is by being open to the viewpoints of others. There is not merely one conception of the world that can be defended or justified, but there are 12. And one must admit that just as many good reasons can be presented to support each of them. The world cannot be rightly considered from the one-sided standpoint of one single conception, a single mode of thought. The world discloses itself only to someone who knows that one must look at it from all sides. Steiner believes that a greater truth will emerge through open discussion, when each individual is free to express their individual truth. Even when an idea is crudely expressed in an offensive way, it is likely to contain a grain of truth. This grain of truth may prove to be essential in reaching a greater understanding of the world and each other. It is a fundamental human right that each person has the right to freely express their ideas. This requires a tolerance for the diversity of ideas. The most important kind of diversity and inclusiveness is to embrace the diversity of ideas. Rudolf Steiner's philosophy of freedom embraces a diversity of ideas by including a variety of viewpoints. My philosophy of freedom presents a wide range of human viewpoints, often masquerading under strange philosophical names, in a way that leaves the reader free of attachment to any particular approach and able to let the various concepts speak for themselves, as though each were a photograph of one and the same object taken from many different angles. The practice of true speech will bring about a better world. But the development of true speech is only possible if there is free speech. Subscribe if you would like to be notified of new videos about freedom, individuality, and ethics.